Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello, and hey, and bonjour, hola, ciao, ni hao, privet, good day, and today especially, kia ora. You're listening to the Road to the World Cup 26 podcast, part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only place to find regular soccer content on the top English Premier League teams, women's football, a whole load of more things, and particularly, and you know this because you're listening, Road to the World Cup, so everything you need to know ahead of the World Cup 26. Next year, I am your host, Nick Britten. I'm joined, as always, thankfully, back in the UK and back in the land of the living after last week's carnage, Mr. Ken Davies. How are you, Kenny?
I'm all right. I tell you, I'm a lot better than I was last week. I mean, that could have gone either way, couldn't it? I mean, I'm not one of those people that complains about man flu much. But, I mean, that was touch and go for a minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was, and it was more go actually towards the end of the podcast.
Oh my word!
I should start with an apology to anybody who listened to last week's chaos. Ken was obviously abroad, and it was always going well until about the last 10 minutes when he fell off the world. And the last 10 minutes of the podcast was just absolute chaos. And we thought about just cutting it all and doing it all over again, but actually it was quite funny when you listen.
Part of the journey.
It is part of the journey. So
part of the journey. But everything's back to normal this week. I'm back to normal. I'm back in my normal studio. Everything's cool.
Well, I'm very, very glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. And if you do want a bit of a laugh, it's not quite BAFTA-winning broadcasting, but go and have a listen to them.
It's laughter. It's laughter winning, though.
Last week's Japan. Anyway, today we continue our deep dive into teams who have qualified for the World Cup already. And today we're going down under to New Zealand.
Wow.
It's not that stirring a national anthem, that is it, really?
Well, I made notes. A little bit stirring, quite emotional. I think it's. I heard the Maori version as well as I was doing a bit of prep for this. That's pretty good. Bit sentimental. You know what they should have done, in my opinion, they should replace it with the haka.
They
should, shouldn't they? I mean, they've got this haka thing going on, haven't they? Yeah. They should stand in front of Italy or wherever they're playing the World Cup and do the haka. I'm telling you, they guaranteed victory.
I think
not only Italians are like,
and not only should the players do that, right, but like whoever's in the royal box and the president and all the people involved with New Zealand should stand up, face their colleagues in the royal box down, and do the haka at the same time.
There you go. The thing with the big tongue thing.
Yeah,
I haven't got a very big tongue, you see, and I'd be terrible at the haka because my tongue is too short.
Well, so Mrs. No, I'm not going to go down that road.
It's way too early for that, mate.
Anyway, as always, we're going to have a look at your World Cup news for this week. Then we're going to dive into New Zealand. Ken will do his little bit of history, as we like to do. I've picked out 5 players, as always, who I think will make an impact. Ken will look at formations. We've got Kenny's quiz. Kenny's quiz is back. We did feel here in the studio at GSPN Towers that Ken, last week, having got the answer wrong, just threw his laptop out the window, which is why he went offline for a few minutes. And we'll also be looking at the New Zealand manager, who's a well-known manager to all of us here in the UK. But first, as always, it's a little bit of World Cup news. So this week's news then, for qualifiers, we've got qualifiers kicking off next week, mate.
Yeah, can't wait.
All over again. So we're going to have a couple of moments just looking at who are the teams who could join the current 7 who are already guaranteed a place at next year's World Cup. In Asia then, I think Uzbekistan look the strongest and most likely to qualify earliest in the qualifiers. They could get through after the next game, actually. If they avoid defeat against the UAE, they're going to be through. And that'll be their first time they've ever qualified.
Wow.
So come on, Uzbekistan.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That'll be a good episode.
Yeah, go for it. Australia could also go through in the next round if they win and results go their way, so they've got a chance. So they're two teams to watch in Asian qualifying. South America is probably the most interesting one, if I'm honest with you, in the next round of qualifying. Obviously, Argentina have qualified already. The only team who can qualify in the next game are Ecuador.
Right.
Who are sitting second. So they've got a chance. But they've got to win and they've got to hope Venezuela draw with Bolivia. But they're Ecuador looking on safe ground. Then as you drop down, the standout game of the next round really is Ecuador and Brazil. Because obviously, by the way, it's Carlo Ancelotti's first game.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on it.
Yeah, we mustn't forget that. But if Ecuador win that, they'll go through, realistically. Brazil will be left treading water.
They're going through, though,
They're going to go through, yeah, they're going to go through, but they want to start picking up results. But with 4 games to play in that whole qualifying group, and let's not forget, in that CONMEBOL qualifying, it's just a straight one-up league. It's not lots of groups and other games and playoffs. It's just a league format.
Yeah.
Argentina have already qualified on 31, Ecuador are on 23, and then we've got Uruguay, Brazil, and Paraguay all on 21, and Colombia on 20. They're the ones who are realistically, I think, going to go through. At the moment, you've got Venezuela on 15 points. They would go into the playoffs. And Bolivia are one behind on 14. So looks like it's going to be Bolivia and Venezuela who are going to contest that playoff spot.
Yeah.
And they play each other actually in the next round. Peru and Chile are stranded at the bottom with 10 points each, so they're not going to do very much. So South America, there's going to be movement in the next round of qualifiers in the next couple of weeks. Around the world elsewhere, Africa, nothing really to be decided. UEFA, we know, only started their qualifying in March, so nothing's going on there really. Oceania have finished their qualifiers, as we know, because we're talking about New Zealand today. New Caledonia, let's not forget, they're going into the playoffs. Out of Oceania, there's 2 teams who are going to be involved. And that leaves CONCACAF, which is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. Currently, only Honduras, Suriname, and Costa Rica have opened up a bit of a gap in their various groups. So they're doing well, but it's still all to play for across the region. So the qualifiers kick off next week, or they resume, I should say. Not too much to be decided outside of South America, but it'll all start taking shape.
Great. Well, let's hope a couple do qualify, because they're going to be the next episodes, presumably after we've covered all of these games. Right. Let me tell you, before we deep dive, as we know in football, it pays to get your team selection right. And here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery partner. We chose Zencastr. Zencastr makes it easy to bring your vision to life, share it with your audience wherever you are. With 4K video recording, easy AI editing tools, and top-tier distribution tools all in one place. If you've got a story to tell it with Zencastr. Check the show notes for more details.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I surely will, Ken. I surely will.
Oh, I'm always checking them.
In fact, I'm going to do nothing else today except check the show notes. Right, let's get into New Zealand, shall we? Let's get into New Zealand. Ken, tell us a little bit about the history of New Zealand football.
Right, what I'm going to do is take you through a little bit of history, where they are ranking-wise, where they are form-wise, and then hand you back to Nick. But in the midst of that, there's certainly a question, Nick, so I want you to be on peak performance when we get to that. It's coming up fairly early. So, what we know about New Zealand, well, they are obviously the qualifier from Oceania, which, to be honest, Oceania, whenever I heard that word, it's got 1984 George Orwell connotations to me. But Oceania have got a qualifier, which is New Zealand. They've been to the World Cup twice before, 1982 and 2010. They are, we should say, the 6-time Oceania Confederation Nations Cup winners. Now, 1982, they played 3, they lost 3. They lost 5-2 to Scotland, which takes some doing. They lost 3-0 to Soviet Union, and they lost 4-0 to Brazil. Not a great competition for them. At which point, there was quite a lot of criticism because there is seen to be an over-reliance on UK-based players who had got Kiwi heritage. And then they started to focus more on New Zealand players, people who had actually been born in New Zealand and maybe the New Zealand diaspora, a word we like to use a lot on this podcast. So things started to improve after that, actually. And the next qualifier, 2010, or the next time they did qualify for the World Cup, they had a much better World Cup. They achieved something, Nick, in that World Cup in a positive way that no other team in the whole competition achieved. What was it?
Well, they didn't win a game. They drew all their games.
Yeah. That's not, but they achieved something that no other team achieved.
Did any other team draw all their games in that competition?
No.
I know that's not your answer.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I think that's part of the answer, though.
So I'm right.
They half right.
Right. Do they draw all their games with the same score?
No.
Is it to do with that? No. Okay. Well, I am actually technically right because they're the only team in the competition to draw all their games.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else they did that was extraordinary.
They're the only team in the competition that didn't lose.
Ah, right. Okay.
Good question, isn't it?
That's a great question. That is a great question.
Only team in the competition that did not lose.
Right.
The eventual champions, who was Spain,
Yeah.
lost in the group stages to Switzerland.
Right.
It's very unusual that a winner actually does lose in the World Cup. So New Zealand drew 1-1 with Italy, 1-1 with Slovakia, 0-0 with Paraguay. By the way, their group, Italy, finished bottom of that group, below New Zealand. Imagine how that went down with the Azzurri. They wouldn't have been happy. So the eventual champions, Spain, lose to Switzerland. So, yeah, they had this really unusual and still an unusual record of being the only unbeaten team at 2010. And so, excuse me, after 1982, which was a pretty terrible World Cup, it was a very positive World Cup in 2010. But, and there's always the swings and roundabouts. There's upsides and downsides. There's two sides to every coin, Nick. Because by 2012...
Well, you say that, but I've got a three-sided coin.
Yeah, yeah, you would have. By 2012, they'd all gone horribly wrong. In the OFC Nations Cup 2012, which they were expected to dominate when you consider the competition, they suffered a somewhat legendary 2-0 defeat to New Caledonia. It became called the horror in Honiara. So if you go to New Zealand and say, hey, remember the horror in Honiara, everyone will know what you mean. It's the 2-0 defeat to New Caledonia. Manager stepped down immediately. Couldn't probably face getting back on the plane. And
he never went back to New Zealand. He never went back. He's still walking around, scratching his head, wondering how it all went wrong.
Just got on a raft. He's drifting around the Pacific to this moment. So that all went pretty badly at that point. So let me take you through their rankings. Currently ranked at 86th. Highest ever ranking in 2002, where they got to 47th, which is very high in terms of rankings. If you're in the top 50, you're a decent football team. The lowest, 2016, a couple of years after the horror in Honiara, where they were ranked 161st, which is getting really down towards the bottom end. But since 2016, there's been something of a climb. There's been something of a consistent rise up the rankings. So they've gone from 161st to 86th in that time. Essentially, they've halved, if you like, their ranking. So a nation on the rise. The difficulty with New Zealand, the difficulty with any Oceania teams is just assessing the quality of the competition. Because the fact that a team ranked 86th in the world becomes the first team to qualify kind of tells you a lot, really, about the teams that they're facing. And just give you an idea of the form, and this will kind of give you a sense of this difficulty. Essentially, it's just a series of easy victories. So the last 4 games, or of the last handful of games, 8-1 against Vanuatu, 8-0 against Samoa, 7-0 against Fiji, 5-0 against Tahiti. Now, with all due respect to Tahiti are probably not giving them the level of opposition that they're going to be facing in the World Cup.
Well, I don't know. They might draw Scotland again.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I will need to look at the record book to see if Tahiti have ever played Scotland. I wouldn't bank on it. What I would love to see is Scotland play New Caledonia, because Scotland's kind of old Caledonia, isn't it?
It is. And how do we know this? How do we know this, Ken? Because very early on in this podcast series, we did a feature on New Caledonia.
We did.
And it got his name because the explorer who discovered the land, it reminded him of the Northern Highlands of Scotland. And that's how New Caledonia got its name.
Wouldn't it be great to see Old Caledonia play New Caledonia? Imagine the rivalry there. These newcomers, these New Caledonian kind of upstarts. Anyway, well, I've got right off the track here because New Caledonia aren't playing Scotland. Anyway, so that's the form. In the latest friendlies, which they've played against, let's say, more robust opposition, Mexico and the USA, they lost 3-0 to Mexico in September 24. They drew 1-1 with a very late equaliser with the USA in September 24 as well. So when you pit them against good competition, they seem to struggle. But of course, against Vanuatu and Tahiti, they're banging them in for form. So that's a little bit of form, a little bit of history. And by the way, I should say before we hand over, the big rivalry. Who do you reckon the big rivalry is?
Well, the obvious answer is Australia.
And it's correct.
Oh, right. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it's correct.
I'm doing well. 2 out of 2 doing well.
The Australian-New Zealand rivalry only rivals the British Virgin Islands, US Virgin Islands in its intensity.
What about Guam versus who are Guam playing? They've got a rivalry. Anyway, I digress. We did all this before. By the way, if you want to find out more about New Caledonia and find out all about it, go and listen to our Oceania review, which we did very early on in the podcast series. And we did a bit of a deep dive into New Caledonia. It's fascinating. It's formed out of the Jurassic era and all of that. I got quite excited about it all. So, well, that's okay. Thanks, Ken. Thanks for that. We're going to move straight on and have a look at some of the key players. So I picked 5 players. 5 players who might make an impact for New Zealand next year. There is only one place to start. There's only one player, really. There's only one player we can start with, and that is, of course, Chris Wood.
I thought you were saying Max Crocombe of Burton Albion.
No, sadly not. We might come on to him, although he's
We've
not.
both seen him play.
We have both seen him play. That's why he's not in my list. Right. Sorry, Max. No disrespect to you.
Good keeper.
Right, Chris Wood, striker for Nottingham Forest Football Club in the Premier League. He's New Zealand's all-time leading scorer. 44 goals in 82 appearances. That's really good. I mean, there aren't many sort of world strikers who play on the international stage with that goal record. Bearing in mind everything you've just said about the level of opposition they normally face. But he remains very much the linchpin, not just of the New Zealand attack, but indeed of the entire team. Recently scored a hat-trick against Fiji. I would expect him to score a hat-trick, if not more.
He got in a bit of trouble in that game. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't know. I knew he injured his hip. He was out for a little bit.
No, he got in trouble because he got booked after he was substituted. Because he'd scored 3 goals, was substituted straight after, because what's the point? But then proceeded to get involved in signing autographs and taking photos with the crowd while the game was going on. And the referee took exception to this. Thought he was not treating the game with the respect that it deserved, and he wasn't. So he got booked.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't, but maybe actually he was. Maybe he was treating it with the respect that game deserved. To be honest with you.
They were. I think they were 6-0 up at that point. It was only going one way.
Well, I'm on Chris Wood's side on this. That's for sure. Okay. I think the main thing about Chris Wood, and I hope, by the way, Matt from Nottingham is listening to this, so he won't write us an angry letter because we're being nice about Nottingham Forest.
I bet he will.
But he will, because he seems to be finding something to be angry at every week when he drops the line. The main thing about Chris Wood is he's had an unbelievable season.
Yeah.
At Nottingham Forest. He's had the best season of his career. Age, whatever is he now, 33 or whatever he is. Is he 33? I can't, how old is he? Look up how old he is whilst I'm doing this. This season, he scored 20 goals. He's hit that magic 20 mark in the Premier League in 36 games. He's finished only behind Mo Salah, Alexander Isak, and Erling Haaland, three massive strikers in the Premier League. So he's had a brilliant season. I think he's 33. Am I right?
He's 33.
33. Thank you very much. Which is great. And of course, Forest qualified for Europe on the last day of the season, not Champions League as they expected to for most of the season. But they fell away towards the end and they qualified for the Conference League. But to be honest, they got a brilliant chance of winning the Conference League. And if you look at his goal stats over the last few years domestically, going back to 2017 and 18, 10 with Burnley, 10 with Burnley, 14 with Burnley, 14 with Burnley, 12 rather with Burnley. And then he moved to Forest and he's got 14 and then 20. So he seems to be
outstandingly consistent.
Well, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. But he seems to be kind of getting better the older he gets.
Well, but maybe just a bit of nous. Maybe he's one of those. He's a clever player.
He's a good player. He's a really good player. Yeah, no, he's a really good player. And if the World Cup was like in 3 weeks' time, I'd be suggesting to you, Ken, that New Zealand might, for the first time in a World Cup history, win a game of football. Because if you've got a striker who's that good, he's going to score goals against teams in the group. Yeah, not the better teams, maybe. He's going to score goals against the weaker teams in the group.
You are going to get some weak teams at this World Cup.
Yeah.
48 teams.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly that. So, but the World Cup isn't this year, it's next year. And he's going to be 34 by then. And is this a flash in the pan? Is he going to have another amazing season at Forest? You know, there's so much to have. When you're this age, there's so much that can kind of, not say go wrong is the wrong phrase, but it can happen in a year in terms of how your football is going. So it's a shame for New Zealand the World Cup isn't this year, because I think he's on fire and he's playing so well.
And he looks after his body, doesn't he? He's not an injury-prone player for that age. He seems to play week in, week out. He's always playing for New Zealand. He's just a very robust athlete.
Yeah, and the Premier League is a tough league to play in. So big up Chris Wood. He's had a great season for us.
Yeah,
he's definitely the player to watch for New Zealand.
Respect.
Player number 2 is Liberato Caciacci, who is the left back for Empoli FC in Serie A.
What's his name? What's his name again?
Liberato Caciacci.
Caciacci.
No, it's Caciacci.
Caciacci.
No, it's not. I looked this up. I had to look this up because I didn't know how to pronounce it because it's spelled
Caciacci.
Cacace. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Caciacci. Liberato Caciacci.
Well, I'm not sure that's true. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. What it actually turned out when I looked up how to pronounce it is that there are 3 or 4 different ways to pronounce it.
Yeah, so, my way. He's the right way.
Well, that's what you're thinking, but let me refer you to Kenny's quiz. It's clearly not. Right, anyway, Caciacci, is that how you want to pronounce it? Caciacci. Okay, well, whatever. Liberato, let's call him that. He is a New Zealander, by the way, although his dad's Italian, hence the name. But he's become a regular now at Empoli, so he's playing regular Serie A. So he's got good experience at a high level of football. He's a left back, very attacking. He flies down the wing. He's made 39 appearances this season in all competitions. Scored 2 goals and 5 assists. He's played in lots of positions, and I like that in a player. I like a player who can kind of move around. So he can do left back, he can do left midfield, attacking midfield. He's played centre back a little bit, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to him in the summer because Empoli finished 18th. They're relegated to Serie B, or B, as you like to pronounce it, Ken.
Right.
And I wonder if he'll be. I wonder whether he'll move on in the summer because there's been interest. Besiktas in Turkey tried to sign him in January.
Besiktas.
But Empoli knocks him back. There might be room there in summer. We'll see. For New Zealand, is that how you want to pronounce New Zealand?
Yeah, that's fine. You're fine with them kind of words, yeah.
Yeah, okay. For New Zealand, he along with Chris Wood, he's first on the team sheet. Not just for his attacking, for his defending performance, his attacking as well. So that's my second pick. Liberato
Caciacci.
Very good. Well done. You're getting there, mate. You're getting there. Number 3 is another Nottingham Forest player, would you believe? Although fans of Nottingham Forest have not seen him play yet, because he signed for Forest in January and then went straight back on loan to the club they'd signed him from, which was Reading, who, for the uninitiated, play in the English League One, which is the 3rd tier of English football. They are a club that has been beset by financial problems, and they've had a very tough time of it in the last 2 or 3 years. Traditionally, they played at a kind of high level.
Championship level team,
championship,
really.
Yeah, championship level team, which is the second tier. But he's only 20 years old. And again, I mean, look, New Zealand don't have an enormous pool of players to pick from. So if you've got players who are playing in England at a high level, you're going to be there and thereabouts. But he's done really well for the All Whites. They like him, and he's say at age 20, he's becoming a regular there. And he was voted Reading's Player of the Year this year. He was nominated for the EFL Young Player of the Year, so he's had a very, very good season. In fact, Ryan Nelson, do you remember Ryan Nelson? I feel like I'm talking about the English League here.
Yeah.
But Ryan Nelson, who's a legendary New Zealander, but also played for Blackburn Rovers. I remember him playing for Blackburn Rovers for a long time. He said that Bindon could become New Zealand's best ever footballer.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking here not only about Chris Wood, but also players like Winton Rufer, who starred in the New Zealand team in 1992 to 94 period when he was playing for Werder Bremen. And with Werder Bremen, he won the UEFA Cup, Winners' Cup, the German Cup, and the Bundesliga. So Tyler Bindon playing for Reading in the third tier of English football has got quite a long way to become New Zealand's best.
He's a Forest player. Forest do have a habit of picking up some talent now, and they seem to be. You've got two New Zealand players. Hey, what's the money in them picking up Kakachi in the? I mean, you never know. Kakachi could end up in Forest ground, couldn't he?
Well, he could, but I don't think Tyler Bindon's going to end up there because the suggestion is he's going out on loan. He might end up at Wrexham.
I hope
now
so.
In the Championship.
Hope so.
Suggestion is, having come from League One, they're going to send him out of the Championship next season. So he might be going to Wrexham, he might be coming to Derby, he might be
that'd be good. He won't be coming to Derby from Forest, will he? Let's be honest.
Well, no, he might be going to somewhere that's better than Wrexham and Derby, though. If he's that highly rated, he might be going to a team that's going to finish in the top half of the league next season. Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, Derby will finish top half, no problem. Ryan Nelson said if he keeps the trajectory he's going on, he will arguably be the best player that's ever played for New Zealand. It's as simple as that.
Wow, good lad.
I don't think it is as simple as that, but, there we go. So that's number 3. Number 4 in my list of New Zealand players to look for is Sarpreet Singh.
You don't get many Punjabi players, do you? You don't.
Very rarely. No,
and it's great. It's great to see that. I just wanted him to play on the wing. I wanted it to be Singh on the wing, but he's not a winger, is he?
No, he's a midfielder. So it's Singh in the middle.
Yeah.
Sing if you're winning.
Sing if you're winning.
Sing if you're winning. Yeah, but New Zealand would never do that at the World Cup, so never win. Right. What's interesting about Sarpreet Singh if he plays for New Zealand in the World Cup next year, Ken?
Yeah, he played with a turban on.
No.
Is he the only Indian player ever to play the World Cup?
Yeah, correct. But not correct. He'll be the second Indian origin player to play at a World Cup ever. The first one was the France midfielder Vikash Dorasu, who played in the 2006 World Cup. But this is the interesting thing. So there's lots of interest in India about New Zealand going into the World Cup next year because of this lad. Because you know what modern football fans are like? They tend to follow players around, particularly in nations that don't really play football, like India. So when an Indian player goes somewhere and plays really well and plays at international level, the country kind of gets behind them. So we'll see next season in the World Cup or the next year, India wanting New Zealand to do really, really well.
Very good.
So he plays in midfield. Was at one time signed for Bayern Munich, although he never really played for the first team. He now plays in the Portuguese second league, La Liga 2.
Who does he play for exactly?
He plays for a club called UD Liera.
Well done. It was just a little test, Nick.
Thank you very much. Mate, I'm passing everything you're throwing at me. Everything you're
Nick's pronunciation test. Mate. This is a great new segment.
I'm doing really well. The thing is, when I do all this research, I have to, because I'm a professional broadcaster, and I like to get these things right. I do look up how to pronounce all these things.
You still get them wrong. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm not sure I do. I'm not sure I do. Anyway, so that's Sarpreet Singh. And finally, then the last one to look out for. I'll tell you what, Kenny's quiz is getting fun because you're going to get it big time. Costa Barbarousis, who plays for Wellington Phoenix. You happy with that?
Yeah, that was decent. Barbarousis, yeah.
Thank you very much. He's a striker who plays for Wellington Phoenix. Now, he's not going to get in ahead of Chris Wood, let's face it. But I'll put him in my list of 5 players to watch out for because He's just a bit of a legend in the New Zealand territories. He's 35 years old. He's a Wellington Phoenix legend, Ken. And how many of us can say that? Can you say that? Are you a Wellington
I
Phoenix
can't.
legend?
I can't. No, I can't.
He recently became the club's only player to win Player of the Year 3 times, and he's had 3 different spells with it.
Legend. Absolute legend. Be building a statue to him in Wellington.
I think so. He's won the A-League 4 times. He scored a 100th goal in the A-League earlier this season. He's very experienced at international level. He's got 67 caps. 9 goals, though, in 67 caps, so not exactly prolific.
He's not Chris Wood, is he? Let's be honest.
Not Chris Wood. I mean, if you only score 9 goals in 67 games when you're playing Tahiti and Vanuatu,
yeah,
it's not great. It's not great.
Do you reckon you could score against Vanuatu?
I think I probably could. But only if I was standing on the goal line and I was looking in the other direction and the ball hit me on the back of the head and went in.
Yeah.
That's probably my best chance.
They all count, mate. Win ugly.
I played football the other week, right? I played football at Pride Park.
Oh, yeah.
Is the world's greatest football stadium.
Yeah, in Derby. Yeah.
In Derby. And I refereed, because I referee, and I refereed 2 games there that day.
Yeah.
But on one of the games, because it was a charity game, some of the players were a bit knackered, so I played the second half of one of the games.
The ref played the second half?
Yeah.
That's got to be against the rules, surely.
Yeah, I didn't keep on refereeing it.
Oh, right.
So
Got you.
myself and one of my assistants played, and the other assistant refereed the second half. It was a charity game. And,
Yeah, fair enough. Very good. Did you score?
No, because I play centre half. But honestly, it's so funny, isn't it? We all watch football, and I've got a season ticket at Derby. I've had for a long time, and I'm at the back.
So have I now, mate. So have I.
Oh, have you?
Mm.
Wrexham supporter buys Derby season ticket.
Yeah, shocker. It's
so
true.
Where are you sitting?
East Stand.
East Stand, right? I'll be looking out for you. I'm in the South Stand with all the
With the hooligans. Yeah, the hooligans.
But it looks so easy, doesn't it? It looks so easy.
Oh, yeah.
You get down on the pitch. So I ran onto the pitch, right, at the start of the second half, and they just said, stay where you are, you play left wing. It's only 3 yards onto the pitch from the dugout. I did one sort of literally 30-yard sprint, which I can do as a referee, no problem at all. But when you do it with a ball at your feet and somebody trying to push you off the ball, I just lay on the ground for about 10 minutes. I was absolutely done. So I said, I'm going back to centre half. And it's just, you run and run and run, don't really seem to make up much ground. The pitch is massive.
I know. I wouldn't fancy it. I haven't played 11-a-side for about 30 years, and I'm not about to in the next 30.
It was great fun. I think I did myself proud anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kostas Barbarouses then. 67 caps, 9 goals. He's a reliable sort of backup player. He's well known. He's a bit of a ledge in New Zealand, and he'll probably get there next year and sit on the bench and do himself well. So there are 5 players who I think are worth keeping an eye out for when New Zealand hit the World Cup in 2026.
Sounds really good. Hope you're enjoying listening to the Road to World Cup. By the way, please, if you get the opportunity, subscribe, leave a review, share the podcast even, because we want to make sure as many people access the podcast as we can. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole World Cup qualifying process wherever you are in the world. And there's an easy way to do that. Email us at roadtoworldcup26@gmail.com.
Yeah, or you can reach us through Instagram at Road to World Cup 26. So do get in touch. We do get some very interesting, old school, interesting letters. They're not letters, obviously.
Yeah.
We get some interesting correspondence, mostly from Matt in Nottingham, and he's mostly angry. But we're picking up mail from all over the world now. So
yeah, it's great.
Do get in touch. It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear what you think.
We'll have a post bag.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll start that as a new section. Right, Ken, quickly then, let's move on. Before we get on to Kenny's quiz, let's do a little bit on formations.
Yeah, quite a straightforward one, really, in the sense of, again, you've got to take in the quality of opposition. Looked at the last few games. Fiji, where they won 7-0. New Caledonia, where they won 3-0. In the Fiji game, it's a 4-2-3-1. In the New Caledonia game, a 4-3-3. Crocombe at the back. Payne, Bindon, Boxall, Kakache across the back.
Who's at the back? Who's playing left back?
Payne, Bindon, Boxall, and Kakache.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, it is. At the back, playing the 4 at the back. That's pretty consistent. Bell and Stanovic in the midfield as the 2 holding midfielders. McCowett, Singh, and Garbett and then Wood up front. That seems to be pretty consistent. They played the same 4-2-3-1 when they lost 3-0 to Mexico. Obviously, that's the game they were taking very seriously. They weren't resting players for that. And so I think that's a pretty clear idea of what they're going to play. Though they did play the 4-3-3 against the USA, which they drew 3-1. Sorry, they drew 1-1. So it's 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, depending on the opposition. Obviously, when they're up against slightly more difficult teams, I think they'll probably have their more defensive 4-2-3-1 with a 4-3-3 if they're coming up against slightly weaker opposition. That seems to be the formation.
Yeah, the 4-2-3-1 will very quickly turn into a 4-5-1, I imagine. I like a 4-2-3-1. I'll tell you what, Ken, when I coached youth football for many, many, many years, I love a 4-2-3-1. It's my preferred. If you've got the players to do it, it's my preferred formation. Because if you've got two good holding midfielders, or even one that you can release, and then you can just say to your front forwards, go and play.
Yeah, do you think,
but you need the players to play it. But it's a great formation if you've got the players. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Do you think the two holding midfielders, if you like, do you need to play slightly different roles? Do you need one who's actually essentially a ultra defensive and one who's kind of box to box?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need one who'll just sit and break up the play. If you think of an N'Golo Kante type of player, I'll just think of another Chelsea midfielder who's so good at it. His name's just
Makelele.
Yeah, Makelele is exactly that. I was thinking. He's so good at breaking up play, and then just turn the ball over, recycle, and go again. But you also need to want to release one because you kind of go and play as an 8 and join in the attacking play, but maybe just sit slightly deeper than your wingers or your 10. Just to hold that position. And if you can get that right, I remember, and you might remember this, and we're going back 10 years. And sorry to anybody else in the world who's not a Derby fan, but you remember the great Derby team under Steve McLaren that came so close to getting promoted. We had a 3-man midfield of George Thorne, Will Hughes, and Jeff Hendrick, and they kind of got that formation in the midfield so well because you had Thorne who would just sit, break up play, and his vision was amazing. Will Hughes is obviously made a brilliant career at Crystal Palace in the Premier League and recently won the FA Cup, whose technical skills was amazing. And Hendrick could just go box to box to box. That kind of midfield was
it was really well balanced, that was. Great. So 4-2-3-1 is your preferred option. So when you're managing a World Cup team, that's what we can look out for.
Absolutely. I think I'll do well with a 4-2-3-1. Right, it's everybody's favourite time of the week. Except me. Kenny. It's time for the quiz. Right.
Here we go. Get me pipe.
Here we go. Right.
Get the pipe out. The thinking pipe is now.
Oh, the pipe's out. The pipe's out. Okay. All right, Kenny. I've got 3 questions for you this week.
3. Okay, go on.
But I think they're all gettable. They're all gettable.
Okay.
If, by the way, if you get one wrong this week, please don't throw your computer out the window like you did last week.
No chance.
Just because pufferfish was the obvious answer and you said stingray.
Yeah, I did. I feel such a fool.
Yeah. And so you should. Right. Number 1, what's the popular activity running around in an inflatable ball that was inspired by a hamster activity that began in New Zealand? It's a global phenomenon. You must have done it. We've all done it. It's the one where you run around an inflatable ball and bash into other people running around in inflatable balls. Do play this at home. Do shout out the answer because I'm sure you know.
And it's got a name.
Oh, it's got a name, yeah. And it started in New Zealand. And
this name's got to involve the word ball, presumably.
No.
No,
it doesn't. But you know, hamsters running on a wheel.
Yeah,
that's kind of where it got. That's where it started.
Okay, it's called hamster.
No.
It's. I have no idea. It's not called ball, and it's not called hamster.
You get this right. Okay.
No, okay. I don't know. It's called. It's called sphere. Sphere sport.
Sphere sport. You're not far away. Oh, actually, you are. Yeah, you're miles away. Shout it out at home to know the answer to this. It is, of course, zorbing.
Blimey. Right. I didn't find that particularly absorbing, but go on.
Okay, it begins with a Z. ZORBING, zorbing. Okay. Number 2. You should get this, mate. Visitors to Waikato region can have a drink in the Green Dragon Inn on the set of which famous franchise of movies? It was all
I
filmed in New Zealand.
suppose it has to be. The only one I can think of that is filmed in New Zealand is Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to say Lord of the Rings.
Okay, I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna give you another guess. Think Lord of the Rings, but think what it was based on.
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit is the right answer.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Hobbit is the right answer. I'm going to give you that because I think
Yeah.
Zorbing was a bit too hard for you. So I'm going to give you that. Don't look at me like that. Don't scowl. All right? Put your pipe back in and shut up.
Okay, The Hobbit. So I got one for that. Good.
You got one, right, okay. And then finally, this is a bonus question for you. And a bonus question for everybody at home. Okay, this doesn't really count in Kenny's quiz, but you can't talk about New Zealand without asking this question. So the nearest million, and I'll give you one up and one down. How many sheep are there in New Zealand?
50 million.
Well, you were straight in, weren't you?
Yeah, I know. I know them all by name.
Do they know you?
I'm from Wales, you see. I'm from Wales originally. There's a kind of a we love a sheep. I don't actually mean in that way.
Yeah, do they see you coming? And, yeah, I was say, do they see you coming and run the other way?
How many million sheep are there?
Well, how many people are there in New Zealand, do you think?
12. No, about 3 million.
Right. There are 5.25 million people in New Zealand.
Right.
Okay. There are obviously more sheep than there are people in New Zealand.
Yeah. That's an unusual thing, isn't it, for a country?
Well,
in fact, you would think in that situation, the sheep would run the country, not the people, wouldn't you?
And they might do a better job.
They'd probably do a better job. So how many sheep are there?
There are 23.59 million. So you were way out.
I was double what we actually were.
Yeah, I was going to give you 23, 24.
That still gives you 5 sheep for every person, doesn't it?
Yeah. That wasn't the question.
No, but I'm just saying it's, imagine that.
Yeah. Imagine in the UK. Imagine in the UK if there were 5 sheep to every person. That would be nuts, wouldn't it? I'd literally look out my window and there would be, obviously 5 sheep, it's me. And I'm one person, there'd be 5 sheep.
In Wales, there'd be high-fiving complete strangers, telling you. They love that. I think
they're doing Wales anyway.
Brilliant. So
unless you're English.
So I've got 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3, yeah, I'll give you that one because, yeah. Well, yeah, but you did technically get it wrong, but I'll give it to you. So well done, mate. That's Kenny's question of the week. Well done at home.
Thank you very much. That was. I'm clearly gonna have to up my game here.
Well, you're getting better. You are getting better.
Am I 1 out of 3? 30%. Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements, because your body, and I'm looking at you, is unique. Because without knowing what deficiencies you have, taking off the shelf supplements mean you're probably not getting what you do need. You're probably getting too much of what you don't need. So Bioniq provides 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what you need. No guessing. So click the show notes, use the code GSPN2025. You get a 40% discount. So why wouldn't you? Nicola.
Indeed, right. Final bit before we get on to final predictions, and that's just a quick look at who is New Zealand's manager. Do you know out there who is New Zealand's manager?
Yes, I do.
No, I wasn't talking to you.
I thought it was another Kenny's quiz then.
You might actually have got this right. In fact, I'll start next week's Kenny's quiz with, what are we talking about today? And you never know, you might actually get one right. Out there in podcast world, around the world, if you don't know who New Zealand's manager is, let me tell you, it's a guy called Darren Baisley. Now, Darren Baisley is well known to us because he played 460 games in England. A good player, by the way. Good player.
Right back, consistent.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, 283 games for Watford, 80 for Wolves, 100 for Walsall. He left Walsall in 2004 and moved to New Zealand. That's how he. That's
He's quite a physical player, I seem to remember.
Yeah.
A big strapping lad, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, your wingers knew that he was there. If you try to take the ball around him, you might take the ball around him, but you'd probably end up in the stand. As you tried.
No nonsense fullback. Yeah. We like that.
And a proper pro. 460 games. That's a great game. But he went over to New Zealand. Played for a bit over there, hung up his boots in 2008 and went into coaching. And he's kind of coached through the ranks at New Zealand. So he started at New Zealand under 17s, he's done the under 20s, he's done the under 23s, he's done a bit of club coaching over there. So he knows his way around this squad and he knows his way around the youngsters and all that. And he's been talking up the squad actually, saying that he's going to have to leave very good players out. I'm not sure about that. Squads. maybe relatively, I suppose. He's got 58 players he's watching ahead of the World Cup next year.
Right.
58 players he's got his eye on. So good luck to him. I hope he does well, Darren. As I say, he's a good old pro, and he's doing a good job, I think, with the All Whites. He qualified early out of the OCR group, and I hope he does well in the World Cup next year.
Yeah, very good. So where do you think things are how are they gonna develop in the World Cup for New Zealand? Let's get to our predictions to kind of close this one off. How we've managed to get about 50 minutes out of this is New Zealand is amazing. But there we go. We have. So prediction, what do you reckon, Nick?
Well, the best World Cup was in 2010, as we talked about before, when they drew all 3 games and were, as we've now found out, which didn't know at the start of the podcast, the only team in that entire World Cup competition not to lose, including the winners. They've never got through the group stage. They won't get through again. Their best hope is to win a game. That's their best hope going into next year's World Cup. If they win a group game, it'll be the first World Cup match they've ever won. They've got to hope Chris Wood stays fit and has another great season and goes into it, on the up. But I'm afraid my predictions for New Zealand is go and enjoy yourself, lads. Try and get 3 points out of one game, and you're on the plane home.
Yeah, I think so. First one we've got getting eliminated in the group stages. I think that's true.
No, I haven't. I've already eliminated somebody.
Have you?
Yeah. I can't remember who. But one of the teams
I'll tell you. I've got the notes on it. You eliminated Iran at the group stages.
I did, yeah.
I think New Zealand eliminated their 86th rank. Let's just put that in context. 84th is Bahrain. 85th is Bulgaria. 87th is Angola.
Yeah, that's normally pronounced Angola, by the way.
Angola. And 88th, Zambia. So that's the kind of company they keep in terms of the ranking. So they're unlikely to test the rest of the world. They're very dependent on Wood. It's, in my opinion, it's actually against the better teams. Are they able to service him? Are they able to give him the service that he's going to need, that he expects, and what he feeds off at Forest? And I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. So I'm afraid I see them being eliminated in the group stages. So that's New Zealand. Thanks for coming, though, New Zealand. You've made it interesting, and we've enjoyed doing the podcast on you, but I think it's going to be a struggle.
Yep, I agree, and we wish you the very best of luck. Right, that's it for this episode. Now, next week, we're going to take a slightly change of direction. It'll be like me playing at Pride Park here. I look right and then dart off to the left, because it's qualifying week, and we're going to next week have a look at the qualifiers and do a little bit of podcast about the qualifiers. We've still got one team to cover in terms of our podcast on teams who've already qualified, and they are the World Cup winners, by the way, Argentina, which would just be like us talking about Lionel Messi for about an hour, wouldn't it? Next week, though, the qualifiers are up and running, so we're going to do some podcasts on the qualifiers, have a look at the games that have been played, have a look at how everybody's shaping up and looking. So we'll do a couple of weeks worth of that, and then we're back on teams who've qualified. And you never know, we might have more teams.
We'll have a few more by then. So it's all working out well.
It's working out very well, very well. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed that. We look forward to your company next week. But until then, look after yourselves, look after each other. This has been the Road to the World Cup. Goodbye.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.